In the last video, we were looking at variables and the operations on variables, so multiplying things together, and I also showed you how to concatenate text with variable values. In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to start with one-dimensional arrays, and then we're going to use a selection statement to determine whether we print something out. Okay, when we're talking about selection statements, these are if statements, and we're going to use simple conditional statements with like lower than or greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to operators. So first of all, let's set up our 1D array. So if I say my array is equal to blank, but we're going to hard code it, so we're going to put some values into here. So what I want to do is I want to have answers from a quiz. Okay, so every multiple choice answer from a quiz. Okay, so A, B, D, D, C, A. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 answers in our array, and these are just the answers that the users picked from a multiple choice quiz. Now they're hard coded. Okay, we don't have to add anything more to it, but what we're going to do is we're going to try and determine if this element is a particular letter. So let's say that the answers were set up as this in the quiz. So it's not A, it's B, that is B, that's D, that's A, that's D, and that's B. Okay, hope that makes sense. So we've got two arrays there. This is sometimes called a parallel array. You're going to learn about that in higher. If we want to compare the contents of the array, I'm just going to make a variable first of all called position, and I'm going to set position to 0 because all arrays start at position 0. That's the first element in the array. And then I'm going to say if my array, and I'm going to use the variable pos. So if my array 0, which is the letter A, if that is equal to answers pos, which will be answers 0, so that B that I've just highlighted there. So if those two things are a match, then I'm going to print correct. Otherwise, I'm going to print wrong. All right. So let's just see how that works. I'm just going to comment out all this code here just for a second and press play just one more time. And it says wrong, correctly evaluating the answers as not matching. If you want something that's slightly more complex, we'll have to add something else. I'm going to put in a third array called question number, and this is going to be a one-dimensional array of integer. So that's question 1, that's question 2, that's question 3, that's question 4, that's question 5, that's question 6. So for a more complicated one, we are going to use that to see if the answer is correct. We're also going to check and see if question number is equal to 1. So this time round, I'm going to run it, and I wonder what will happen. Well, it's going to say wrong again, but why does it say wrong? This evaluates as false. Okay, so we know that it's not going to print correct. But this also evaluates as false because we've not actually set question number to be number 1. We've set it to be an array. So you've got to remember to use question number pos. So question number pos will take the first item of the question number array and evaluate it. And now it still says wrong, but it works correctly. This evaluates as false, this evaluates as true, but when you combine them together with an AND gate, false and true is false. True and true make true. So false in anything makes false. So if we just change that to an A, we should see, if I've done it correctly, that it prints right or correct. There we go. Okay, so it prints correct because it evaluates my array pos equals answer pos, which is A is equal to A, and that is correct, so it's true. And it looks at question number 0, which is this item there, and it compares it to the number 1, and it matches, and so it prints correct. If you want to double check that your logic is sound, just change the 0 and the question number array to, sorry, the 1 to a 0. And run it again, and this time it should say wrong. Okay, so we know that the answer is matching the correct answer, but because question number is not 1, it is 0, it says it's wrong. So imagine for a second that the only time we need to check if the answer is right is if the question number is set to 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this line and print and paste it underneath. And then I'm going to take out the thing that I don't want to be tested every time, because I don't want to test whether my answer matches the correct answer if it's question 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So I'm checking to see if question number is 1, and then if that's true, I'm going to tab in. I don't have to test this other part here. Okay, so now it tests to see if the answer matches my answer. If it doesn't, it's going to print wrong. But on the outside, if it's not question 1, I'm going to print not the right question. So now if I run it, it says correct because question number is set to 1 and my array pos, which is A, is equal to answer pos, which is A. So let's change it to B, back to the way it was before. So the right answer is B now. Run it again. It says wrong. Okay, so we know where we are in our nested selection statement. So we've performed this, we've got into this loop, which means that question number position is 1. It then performs this test here, which is a simple test. It fails, so it prints wrong. This part's ignored because we've already evaluated this as true, so we're only going to run this section of code. Let's leave the answer incorrect, but change question number position 0 to 0 instead of 1. Have a think about what might happen this time round. When we run it, it says not the important question because it evaluates this line. Question number position is not equal to 1, so it immediately drops to the else and displays not the important question. So we've actually saved some comparisons, so our program will, over a longer period of time, run faster. So, in summary, we've looked at arrays today. We've looked at accessing elements of the array using square brackets. And then we looked at selection statements, we made them more complex, and then we simplified them again to make them more efficient to run.